God wants for you, what would you say? What does God want for you? What does He want you to be? What would you say?
I would say He wants us to be to mirror His Son.
That's true. He wants us to mirror His Son, Jesus Christ. He wants us to be Christ-like. What else would you say?
He wants us to be who we are.
Who we ought to be ourselves.
Yeah, just show honesty.
And if you do these things, if you're Christ-like, if you're honest, what does that lead to? It leads to happiness. Very good. It leads to happiness. Ultimately, God wants us to be happy. That's the goal. How do we achieve that? Well, by being Christ-like, by being honest, by being loving, by being caring, all those many things. But the goal, what God wants for us, is happiness. Now, happiness doesn't mean that all of a sudden all your problems go away. Happiness doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, that life's going to be easy, that things are going to be easy. But happiness means to be truly at peace, to find peace knowing that you're doing God's will, to find peace that God is with you. Now, when we're happy, if we want to be happy, we have to look in our hearts. God wants you to be happy. How does that look? What does that look like? First place to look is in our hearts. What are your desires? What has God placed in your heart and in your mind? What does He want you to do? How does He want you to feel fulfilled? To be all you can be? To be fully yourself? Fully alive? That's where you look. God speaks to us through our hearts, through our minds. Now, when somebody's happy, what are some signs? If somebody's happy, what are the things they do? They tend to know someone's really happy. What do they do? Do they frown? What do they do? What do they smile? They smile. What else do they do? They laugh.
They have a good attitude.
Good attitude. They say that Jesus with His apostles probably always had a good time because Jesus probably knew every single joke in the world. What else? They make other people happy. It's contagious. Right? You pass it on. You pass it on. Right? So now Sister's going to talk about a particular gospel passage. You want to do that?
I can do that.
Okay. A particular gospel passage where we see that. Where we see how that happiness, that joy of finding Christ brings happiness and it passes on.
Okay. It's in John's Gospel, and we have kind of different ways to do this, but how many of you know the story of Jesus being baptized? Anybody know that story? All right, you all know Jesus was baptized by John, right? Okay. There's a time when Jesus was walking by the water, and if you look at the first chapter of John's Gospel, you'll see that there's a different way the story is told a little bit. And so Jesus is walking by John, and what does John do? Does anyone know what John does in the story? Jesus is walking is John by the river, baptizing. What does he do? Don't read John's Gospel.
He called him out, then.
He says, there he is. John is with his own disciples, right? The guys that are hanging out with John. Andrew and Peter, his brother. And there's Andrew and a couple of other people with him. And John says, there he is. There's the one we've been waiting for. Go and follow him. So, they're like, okay, because that's what we've been here waiting for, right? We're waiting for this guy to show up. Now he's shown up, so they take all their stuff and they follow Jesus. They're walking, and Jesus turns around and says, what do you want? They're like, Then they say, I don't know. John told us to follow you, right? They didn't say that. They didn't say, oh, nothing. We're sorry. We need to get new space, Jesus. They didn't say that. What did they say? Does anyone know? Jesus says, what do you want?
They asked him where he was staying.
They say, where are you staying? Where are you staying? What is Jesus' response? What's it, your business? Does he say, I'm staying at my mom's, here's her address, come meet me there later? Does he say, what? What does he say when the apostles turn to him? He turns and he says, what do you want? And they say, where are you staying?
Follow me.
He says, follow me. Come with me. See where I'm staying. The gospel, and then what happens is Andrew goes, and Andrew's so excited. He spends the whole day there. We don't know where they went. We don't even know what they did. What we know in the story is that Andrew then goes to tell who? His brother. He goes to get Peter, and he says, Peter, you will never guess who I just spent the whole day with. The one, the Messiah. Peter's like, yeah, right. Yeah, you spent the day with the Messiah. What I know is you weren't here helping me. You're supposed to be helping me work, and you're off playing with the Messiah. I'm serious, Peter. It was him. Come and see. Follow me. Come and see what I have found. So then we see Peter and Andrew there together, and Jesus names him and says, you are Cephas. You are the rock. You are the one. I know you. Peter's a little surprised by this. Then they're walking along a little bit further, and then they see Philip. And Jesus says, hey, Philip, come on, follow me. Oh, me? So he starts following. And then what does Philip do? He tells Nathaniel. Very good. He tells Nathaniel, he says, Nathaniel, you'll never guess who I've been following all day. He says, yeah, I know you've been hanging out with Andrew and Peter. No. Andrew and Peter are with me. We've been following Jesus all day long. You got to come along. And Nathaniel says, right, nothing can come from Nazareth, because that's where they were. And then Jesus sees Nathaniel and says, at least you're honest, Nathaniel. Right? At least you're honest. He didn't think I was much of anything, but I saw you before Philip came to you, sitting under the fig tree. And Nathaniel's like, you saw me? How did you see me? You must be Jesus. And Jesus says, what, you think I'm great just because I say I saw you somewhere? You haven't seen anything yet. This is going to be amazing. You are going to see the angels descending and ascending. You're going to see things no one has ever seen before. Come with me. So now we see, just as Father Pablo was saying, that when Jesus enters in and finds us, and when we let ourselves be found by Jesus, when we say to Jesus, where am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? And he says, follow me. That what happens is not just that we go along by ourselves, but the excitement, the energy, the enthusiasm is just what we were saying. It's a happiness that is contagious. And it's a happiness that cannot be contained. That if we truly open ourselves, find the one that we seek, and let him find us, that we won't be able to do anything but tell others about it. So when you go to these workshops, and you always get some nun and priest who's getting up there to do some talk about vocations, it's not because we just want to bore you with conversations about this stuff. It's because we're so happy and so fulfilled and so excited that Jesus has shown us who we are to be. We can't help but want to tell you about it. And we're so happy about it, we want to help you find who Jesus wants you to be. We're so excited about who we are that we want to share it, because it's too much for us to contain. You know, when you're happy and you're smiling and you're laughing, it's like your whole face, your whole body just kind of beams joy. That's what happens when you find your vocation. Everything about you wakes up, and it's hard to put it to sleep. You want to talk about it. You want to share it. You want to tell other people about it. And that's what happened with the apostles in that gospel. So today, Father Pablo is going to tell you about what happened when he found that happiness. And then we're going to talk about ways that you can find it as well.